The season is less than a month away. So much to look forward to with so much expectation. The football club does not rest as we edge ever closer to season 2023-2024. Welcome to ABTV's The Main Stand. Hi everybody, good evening. How are you doing? God, it's been a wee while since we've been on. I hope you're all well. So, this is The Main Stand. The idea behind this programme is quite simple. It's a magazine type show where we're going to be looking back and looking forward to all things Dons, all things Aberdeen, and just reacting to all the news that has recently come out of Pittodrie in the past few days, in the past few weeks. So, what I'm looking for you to do is to very much get involved tonight. Leave your comments under the video. Let me know how you're feeling, what you're thinking. Just anything, what you think about the new shirt, the Northern Lights shirt, what you think about the boys being away on pre-season, the new signings, are we missing anybody? You tell me and I'll get you on to the best of my ability. What we will do tonight is not have any time restriction, so we can do as little or as much as you please. But I want this show to all be about you so that you can have your fun, interact with each other. Let's just have a really good time, have a bit of a laugh, and let's just see where we can go tonight. So, coming up later, I'm going to be reacting, obviously, to all the big news that's coming out of Pittodrie. And I'm also, I've done a sort of a 10-minute chat this morning with a gentleman called Steve Hoare, who is the Chief of Operations at Red Men TV, which is a huge Liverpool-based internet television site. They're absolutely massive, hugely popular. So I caught up with Steve earlier today to talk everything Rhys Williams, and he's given us a really interesting lowdown on our newest recruit, who is here obviously for the season, and I think who will fill Matty Pollock's boots in the centre of defence. So Steve is here a little bit later. But as I said, everything is about you tonight. So come on and just tell me how you're feeling, tell me what you're thinking, and just let me know how you're doing. I just love to know how you're doing. But I thought tonight that there was really only one place where I wanted to start, and that was by remembering our former manager, club director and club ambassador Craig Brown, who sadly passed away last week. I was absolutely devastated when Craig left. I knew he was in the best of health, and I was very fortunate through my life that I got to know Craig at a very young age, and he became a very good friend of mine through a wonderful relationship that he had with my late grandfather. Now, if you're unaware of the story of my late grandfather, he was a very much respected and very much loved football journalist who began his career in the 50s. He worked his way through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and sadly he died in 1990. And Craig was a great friend of my grandpa, whose name was John Begg, or as he was known to his pals, Johnny Begg. So I want to tell you a couple of stories about Craig. And what I would like for you to do is, if you have any stories about Craig, as we go along tonight, just fill me in, just drop your comments, and I would love to read them out tonight, because Craig was an incredible character. He was one of the loveliest guys that I had the privilege of knowing. I feel quite blessed to have known him, and forgive me if you feel that I'm slightly indulging myself here, but there are times when I want to, because Craig was that special. I want to give you an example of how fantastic he was. So I celebrated my 50th birthday last August, and a good friend of mine, John Bleasdale, very kindly organised for a number of videos to be sent to me from ex-players who all wished me a happy birthday. And most of them were 30 to 40 seconds long, which was fantastic. But Craig's was nearly 5 minutes long. And he put me on the verge of tears with his words, because he was so kind. So I first met Craig back in 1990 when my grandfather died. He came to the funeral, and I remember he came over, and this was the first time that I met him. I was 17 years old, and I was trying to make my way as a professional football player. And he came over to the family, offered condolences to my father, and then my uncle, who sadly has also passed away, and my auntie. And he had a long chat with Bill, who's my uncle, Bill Marwick, who is also a football journalist. who worked very closely with my grandfather. So there's a very close connection there. And so they were talking about my grandfather, and he said to me, and there are times in life when words never escape me, and I always remember them. And he said to me, I hear you're quite the player, which kind of made me blush. And then he said, who do you support? Who are you following? And I sheepishly said Aberdeen. And these are the words that I'll never forget. He said to me, you made a very good choice. And fast forward a few years, when he was the manager of Preston, my dad came down to Manchester, where I was living at the time. And we'd organised to go through and see Craig. And we got to the stadium, and Preston had played a game the night before. So he was in his office, and he was doing some analytical work through the video. So he came down to reception and made his apologies and said to Dad, look, can you give me half an hour just while I finish the video analysis? And so what he did was he made sure that we didn't just sit and wait for him. He went and got his tickets to what was the National Football Museum, which at that time was based inside Deepdale. So my dad and I had a walk around the football museum before we went up to Craig, and we had a fantastic couple of hours with him. And then again, he was a studio guest of mine when I worked at Setanta, and he was absolutely brilliant when I worked on the European football coverage. And he would always give me advice, and he was always very calm about the way he would offer advice. And he was just the most amazing man, and he's going to be missed so much, so dearly, because he really was a one-off. So I would really like for you to come on tonight's show and just tell me your stories about Craig, because he had so many funny stories. You know, some of the stories would just have you in fits of laughter with tears streaming down your eyes. There was a magnificent picture that Ali McCoist put on his Instagram of him and Craig. Craig has obviously told him a story, and Ali's just lost the plot with it. And it's a fantastic picture, and it encapsulates Craig at his very best, just being able to make people feel the very best that they can be. And that's what I always thought Craig did. No matter where you were, what you were doing, he was able to lift you. And I'm going to miss him terribly. So let's move on, because obviously, as much as the sad news reached us last week, we also received some incredible news with the signing of Graham Shinnie. Shins is back, and it's absolutely fantastic to see him back at the place where he calls home. A 3-year deal. He's going to skipper the club again. In his first sort of spells with the Dons, 202 appearances, 13 goals. And I think it's safe to say that we are all absolutely thrilled that Shinza is back. And it looks like, because there's been a bit of a debate about this, but it looks like he's going to be wearing the number 4 jersey. So I was sort of looking at some videos on Red TV and some of the photographs from the training camp, and he's wearing the number 4 training shirt, because a few people have asked me about what number he will wear. So it looks more than likely that his squad number will be number 4. Personally, I'm absolutely thrilled that he's back. I'm delighted. It's a fantastic signing. He is exactly the type of player that we need. You know, we saw in the spell up until that nonsense where he got suspended for all those games, what a difference he makes in the middle of that park, how much he drives players on, how much he makes players want to be better. And he demands the very best from our players. And I just think it could be the capture of the summer. So let me know what you think about Shinza. Right, let's before we move on, let's open it up, because as I said, I do want to make it about you guys tonight. So let's see how many of you are on this evening. Delighted to see. Whoa, I do that every time, don't I? Delighted to see that there are nearly 100 of you on tonight. Right, let's go right back to the beginning. Alexander Wallace. Hi, Ali. Seen all the chat about Hilber. Surely it would be better for him to play with the Dons in Europe and add even more to his CV than look for a move in the next window. So, Hilber Ramadani, let's bring you right up to date. So, there are a lot of reports, and they are only reports at the moment, that he is due for a medical within the next 24 to 48 hours in Lecce. So Lecce apparently, allegedly, are going to be making an offer for him, or going to put in a bid for him. Now, Sean Wallace from the Press and Journal I understand he's out with the team at the moment, and the Press and Journal wrote an article basically saying that there's nothing in the story. There's been no contact between the two clubs. Now, today, I've attempted to speak to an Italian agent who I know quite well. So I've left this guy a message to see if I can find out anything from him. He's not responded to me yet, but if he does during the duration of the programme, if I can read it out, I will read it out. But I will try and bring you whatever news there is from this Italian agent who I know is very well connected in the game in Italy. So, but I have to be honest, Alexander, unless Lecce make him a ridiculously strong monetary offer, I don't know why he would want to leave. You know, he's still contracted for 2 years. He's away to depending what level of European football we play, he's going to be putting himself in a shop window, as are all our players playing on that stage. So his stock and his credibility can only go one way, which means you never know. Bigger clubs, with the greatest respect to Lecce, could come in for him. So if I was advising Hilbert at the moment, I would say to him, bide your time, take your time, there's no rush. You're just a way to step onto the European stage where you can showcase your talents. Stick about. Aberdeen are going places. Stick about. There's no rush. That's what I'd be advising him to do. Graham Clark is here. Hi Graham, how you doing, fella? He wishes everybody a very good evening. Hope you had a great family holiday. I was just away to ask you about Hilbert too and your thoughts on this. Seeing he liked a tweet on himself. Yeah, don't read too much into these tweets. You know, people just, I think people do it as a habit. When they see themselves in tweets, they just automatically like it. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I had a fantastic family holiday. Just got back from Lake Garda down in Italy. It was absolutely magnificent. So thank you. Scottish Susie is here. She's wishing everybody a good evening. How great is the feeling around the club at the moment? Couldn't agree more. Angela Hamilton. Hi, Angela. So happy that we have Shinnie back. My prayers to the football gods were answered. John McDonald. Hi, John. What a season it is ahead of us. Can't wait. John Dorwood is wishing everybody a very good evening, as is Colin Stewart. He said, great signings so far. Hope Rama isn't away though. Gregor Stevens says, sign Kino Bacchus and Dylan Levitt to replace Rama. Can't be bothered has said, still in dire need of at least 2 centre-backs. Stewart needs to be binned. So, as we know, Anthony Stewart is back. And I have to say, I've been a little bit disappointed by some of the comments about him. Just leave the lad alone. You know, look, it didn't work out for him. And Barry saw that. I'm sure Anthony did as well. They moved him on. It was for the best interest of the football club, and it was for the best interest of the lad as well. He's come back. Let him settle in. Let him get a good pre-season under his belt. And I have to be honest, I don't think he will be a starter for Aberdeen. I don't think he will feature in Barry's plans, so I'm sure his agents will be looking to get him out on loan again. But give the guy some slack. That's what I say. You know, social media, dearie me. Paul Donaldson is on. Hi, Paul. Hope everyone is doing well and enjoying the summer break. Got my ticket for Preston ordered today. Looking forward to an away trip to a new stadium. Crypto Kev has wished everybody a very good evening. Angela Hamilton has said, the Northern Lights top is fire. But can't be bothered, has said, it's not for me. Graham Clark has said, he says, I agree with I can't be bothered. I am pleased Vinny is getting an opportunity to get in the team. However, Stuart needs to go, makes me nervous. So obviously Vinny Becerwin is back as well. From what I can understand, he's fully fit. And look, he's got a fantastic opportunity to show Barry what he can do and be part of the team. He obviously fell out of favour under Jim. They quickly moved him on. You know, it was my understanding, and you can take this as you wish. You don't have to take it as gospel. That he had a bit of an attitude problem in training. So I hope he sorted that part of his head out, that part of his game out, and that he comes back fresh and really wanting to show Barry what he can do and what he can contribute to the team. Neil McDonald has said, Craig started the club rebuild. Wonderful man, a great ambassador for the whole of Scottish football. The Dons were blessed to have him. I couldn't agree more, Neil. Lovely words. Graham Clark has said, the Northern Lights top, I think, is very much like Marmite. You're either going to love it or hate it. I love it, actually. It's different. When they released it, I actually thought it was a special edition top. I got to be honest, when I first saw it, I was a bit, ooh. I love the concept. I love the idea. I think that's fantastic. I'm not knocking that at all. But at first I was a bit, I'm not too sure about it. But I have to say, it has grown on me. And considering that we've sold a record amount of shirts with that one, I think that just goes to show how much everybody really does like it. And I do think it's a grow on it. I have to say, my head's been turned. I like it. I do like it. Fraser Gunn is here. Hi, Fraser. Looking forward to the new season. So glad Shinnie is back. The absolute heartbeat of our team. Want Ramadani to stay, but do believe he could be replaced. Cryptic Kev is on asking you guys, do you think there's any way back for Anthony Stewart? Does he deserve a second chance under Barry Robson? Phil McLean is here. Hi, Phil. I used to work as a steward at Peterhead Football Club. I met him briefly at a friendly against us. I think you're talking about Craig Brown, Phil. John Dorwood has said Anthony Stewart just needs to break confidence and getting back to the way he used to play. Yeah, I agree. David Scott, in regards to Craig Brown, has said, just came across as a great man who would talk to anyone, anytime. Very much a people person. I completely agree. Laura McLean says, away top is beautiful, more so in person. Shinnie has been the best signing yet. I also wanted to add in that hats off to Dave Cormack for the fan interaction. It's a nice touch in my eyes, yeah. I have to say, the club socials are doing a fantastic job. Did you see the tweet from Alan Burrows talking about Craig Brown? It's the best tweet that I've seen on him. It was a beautifully worded tweet, and again, it just goes to show how much Craig meant to people. It was a lovely tweet, and I was delighted to see the tweet get so much interaction as well. Paul Donaldson has said, very sad news about Craig Brown. I was lucky to meet him a couple of times. Many happy memories of Euro 96, the 1998 World Cup, and beating England at Wembley in 1999. Saved AFC from relegation first season. Graham Clark says, no words will come close to describe the man that is Craig Brown. A top man. He will be missed dearly. Al Mitchell is here. Hi Al, how you doing? He's wishing everyone a good evening. Looking good for the coming season. Stephen Watt Poet has said, we have 4 strikers at the club, but do we feel Alfie Babbage would benefit from a season loan at a championship club and another new striker brought in? I have to be honest, I think I would rather Alfie stay and make it this season for him to really kick on. So get more game time. I don't think he'll start many games, but I do think he could be a presence coming off the bench. So I would like to see him getting more game time and use this season, as I mentioned, to kick on and really start developing his game. Okay, so let's take a break from all your chat at the moment. And as I said earlier, I caught up with Steve Hoare, who is the operations manager at Red Men TV, to talk all things Rhys Williams, who signed for us on a season-long loan from Liverpool. He's had a couple of loan spells in the past few years, Kidderminster Harriers, Swansea, Blackpool. He's to be honest, he's not had a great deal of game time, but the kid is very highly thought of and is held in very high regard, particularly with Jurgen Klopp. So I caught up with Steve to chat all things Rhys Williams. Hi Steve, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on, fella. Right, let's get straight into it. Let's crack straight on. So what type of player are we getting?
He's a ball player, definitely, but that's what I'd say. Big, tall lad, good on the ball, communicator as well. That's probably one of his big strengths as he's come up through the age groups. I think a lot of people have said that about him. He talks well. If anyone who goes down to watch Liverpool's academy side, you'll hear him. He's one of the chattier ones on the pitch. I think the reason, and I know we might touch on it later, where he's lacking is probably like a little bit of physicality, and I think that's one of the reasons Liverpool have loaned him out a couple of times. He's very cultured, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like he's that kind of player. Probably needs to learn a bit more aggression. And I think Liverpool have decided, like with a couple of loans and whatever, that maybe that's one of the reasons why they've let him go out on these loans. Go and play proper men's football. There's only so much you can learn, isn't there? Really, at under 23s, under 21s levels before it's different when you're playing at a youth team than when, you know, someone's wages and someone's salaries on the line and 3 points are on the line every single week. So that's the positive. The positives are, mate, he'll get the ball down, he'll want to play with it. He's confident with it on the ball, and like I say, he won't shy away. He's not a timid guy, you know what I mean? He'll go in there and he'll make sure he's known in terms of his voice and stuff. I think, like I say, Liverpool just want him to probably just a bit more aggressive sometimes, a bit more committed to stuff. But again, he's a very young centre back. These things do take time.
Steve, it's quite interesting from a Liverpool perspective as the kids coming through the academy, particularly at centre back, are they always sort of taught to be a ball player instead of being a ball winner? Is that the culture at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you play for Liverpool, you've got the more. You should have the ball more than you haven't got the ball. All the way through the sand. That's one thing that Jurgen's done really well. He's the academy and the first team should be in different venues, like other ends of the city. So Kirby for the academy and Liverpool and Melwood for the first team rather, and then they brought them all together into one place. And there's definitely an ethos through the club that we do things. So the under nines play the same way as the under 11s, play the same way as the first team. Everyone, you've got to be able to play the ball. I think that's the most important thing. So yeah, absolutely, that's without a doubt. If you don't you don't play for Liverpool if you're just someone who, you know, who can't do that, because like we've got a lad Nat Phillips, and I love Nat Phillips. He's a proper centre back, but that's why he's getting sold. You know, Nat Phillips will head everything and block everything and tackle it. You know, if it moves, he'll kick it. But that isn't what Liverpool are after. That's great, but you need to be able to play, and I think that's similar. Really, all our centre backs that Liverpool have, every age group, they are told that you have to be able to play the ball.
Obviously, he's coming to Aberdeen. He's going to be joining his good mate Leighton Clarkson, who we've obviously just recently signed from you as well, who just had a phenomenal season with us last year, and you know, we're absolutely thrilled that he's put pen to paper on what is a proper deal for us. First and foremost, were you surprised that Liverpool let him go?
No, not really. It was at his age. Liverpool are actually quite fair with young players. They will let them go. You know, if there's no real pathway to get into the first team, then Liverpool are quite comfortable to let players go. What they tend to do is what they've actually just done with Leighton Clarkson. He's the perfect example. Is that go and have a loan, make a name for yourself, and then we'll get better offers, basically, and you'll get better offers. You know, if you're going to have a really great season, then, you know, the contract that you're being offered might have an extra zero on the end of it compared to if you were just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, so Liverpool are very much in that mold. They'll loan players out. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But no, I wasn't surprised. I think really, if you know, if you're getting towards your 20s and you don't look like you're pushing the first team, Liverpool are quite happy to let players go out. And so no, it wasn't a big shock, to be honest. The positive was that he did so well at Aberdeen, and Aberdeen wanted to keep him. You know, he's going to be playing European football next year. Liverpool have sold lads to League 2 teams to League 1 team. So the fact that Leighton did so well on his loan deal got him to Aberdeen. And listen, we all know there was other clubs in Scotland and in England interested in him as well. So that is the perfect example of what it should be. If you're not, you know, going forward yourself a career at a top club with top fans, go and play European football. I mean, that's perfect. It's worked out for everybody. Aberdeen are happy, Liverpool are happy, and Leighton Clarkson is happy as well.
Hey mate, you've got another excuse to watch the Dons this season, eh?
Absolutely, yeah, man. I will definitely. As like I said, I don't think Rhys Williams will be scoring many free kicks from the edge of the box, mate. I'll be honest, but I'll definitely have an eye on him. Do you think he'll play, Ali? Is he going to play?
Yeah, I think you will. I think you will, because unfortunately it didn't look like we were going to get Matty Pollock back from Watford. So I think he's been brought in as a direct replacement. So I have absolutely no reason to think why he wouldn't partner Angus MacDonald at the back. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on, particularly as you said, he's such a ball player, which actually Matty Pollock was as well. So that, I think it could fit. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's wait and see how the pre-season starts, and then I'll keep you updated.
Absolutely, mate. He's had a couple of poor. He had a loan at Swansea that just did not work out for him.
Yeah.
Before that, he went to Kidderminster. Actually, he chose to go to Kidderminster. He was playing like non-league football, but for that reason, again, Liverpool wanted to toughen him up a little bit. You know, go and play non-league Kidderminster, go and, you know, get the elbows in the face and stuff. Yeah. It didn't work out at Swansea. He was doing okay at Blackpool, playing quite regularly. Then he had a bit of an injury, and then Mick McCarthy come in, and Mick McCarthy's very much not that style. Wasn't his type of player. And then Liverpool got a few injuries at centre back, so Liverpool recalled him. But he was recalled basically to sit on the bench.
Okay.
And I think I actually think that's quite frustrating for him because he was at a club where he was playing. So my guess is he must have had some assurances from Aberdeen because he definitely wants to play. Like he doesn't want to go and he done it at Swansea where he didn't play, and it was just a waste of everybody's time. So my guess is he's going there to play. We had the end of the behind closed doors season, 2021. Liverpool had so many injuries at the back. Rhys Williams actually played the last 10 games or so of the season alongside Nat Phillips, I mentioned before. Um, and he did okay. Like you could tell, he was, Liverpool looked after him a little bit. He was it was probably a little bit too soon for him. There was a game at Man United where Marcus Rashford kind of embarrassed him a little bit, but he learned very, very quickly. And by the end of that season, Liverpool had to, I think they had to win every game to get into the Champions League, and they did it with him and Nat Phillips. And there's a famous picture, Liverpool fans, if anyone's watching, will be aware. At the end of the season, they let like a few thousand fans back into the ground, so the players did a bit of a lap, and Nat Phillips are there with a big bandage round his head because he's been cut, and Rhys Williams has got a big slice down his eyebrow where someone had elbowed him, and it was kind of like, yeah, these lads, they've been through it. This, they've, from nowhere, these lads are playing, and it's a pair, it's a great picture. I think they're both very proud of both of them, and it kind of sum both of them up really. Unsung heroes Liverpool never expected. Have to have Nat Phillips and Rhys Williams playing centre back, but they give it their all, and I'm sure like he'll do the same at Aberdeen. Like there is no question about the kid's commitment or all that kind of stuff. He's got that in bucket loads. I think he just, like I say, if he can just go, and he's got the frame, he's got the body, he just needs to use it a little bit more. Just go and be a bit more with it because he's such a nice guy. I think he needs to learn, like maybe up in Scotland, you guys can toughen him up a little bit. Maybe it's too us Southerners for you guys anyway. We're Northerners, but for you guys, we're Southerners. So maybe it's a bit of that. Maybe he needs a bit of that in him. But I think it's an amazing opportunity for him. Go and play in a proper league. Go and play European football. And like I say, my guess is, Ali, I think he probably ends up getting sold, if truth be told, down the line. Yeah. I don't think Liverpool are in them because Liverpool's got other players ahead of them, and that's just what happens sometimes. But again, it's similar to Leighton Clarkson. Go and get yourself a proper move, because if he was on the market for sale now, it might not be that many opportunities. But if he goes and absolutely smashes it there, like Leighton's just done, then there'll be big clubs in for him, because he really has got pretty much everything. If he can just learn that bit of physicality, a bit more aggressive, if he can do that, then he'll be a really good player.
Brilliant, Steve. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's lovely to see you as always. Keep up the great work with the channel, and hopefully we'll see each other again soon.
Yep. Cheers, Ali. Thanks for having me.
Top man. See you, fella. Bye-bye. So my thanks to Steve Hoare from Redmen TV. If you are a big Liverpool fan and you've not seen them yet, check them out on YouTube. What a fantastic channel that is. So here's some stats about Rhys. He's only 22 years old. He's tall, 6'5", and he's made a total of 19 appearances for Liverpool's first team. 14 I think it was 14 started and 5 coming off the bench, something like that. And Jurgen Klopp definitely thinks he's one for the future. So that is Rhys Williams' stats. Barry Robson has spoken recently about new acquisitions, new signings. We're down the road with some. However, sometimes it's hard to push it and get it over the line. I'm sure we can try and do that. Hopefully we can add something to the team to make us better. He went on to say, we're still looking at a bit light in numbers, but have managed to add some players, which I think everyone will be pleased about. We need to be diligent on bringing other ones in. I don't want to rush it, as I want to make sure it is right. So those are the very latest quotes coming from the gaffer from Portugal. So a couple of you have commented about Rhys Williams. Fraser Gunn has said, I think Rhys will be a good acquisition. Many doubted Pollock when he arrived based on his career stats. I think Williams will be really good. Huge talent that Liverpool seem to rate highly. Again, looking at the footage of the team training in Portugal, it looks like he's wearing number 5. That looks like he's going to get the squad number, which makes me think that he could be very much a starter alongside Angus. So yeah, let's just see how that partnership develops, and I'm sure Barry will be looking at that already in sort of small what's the word I'm looking for? Small-sided teams in training. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the lad can do, and he's obviously delighted to be here. I saw his interview on Red TV and he's absolutely buzzing, and obviously Leighton Clarkson played a big part in selling him the club as well. Pete Hentges is here. Hi Pete. Getting Shinnie back is massive, embodies everything that you want in a captain. Laura McLean has said she's absolutely buzzing for the up and coming season. Al Mitchell has said, I don't think Rama will go anywhere. Super Chimp has asked, will Duke be joining up with the squad? Yes, he will. Ian Bruce has wished everyone a good evening. What are the positions still to get some new players in, and who do you think the Dons should target? Well, I have to be honest, I still really want us to go for Liam Scales. I thought Liam was fantastic after Barry took over. And I saw Neil Lennon came out and said it would also be a fantastic move for Liam to come and join Aberdeen. So I really hope Liam's head is turned our way. Erica Mitchell has said, good evening, Ali. Just tuned in. Hi, Erica. Hope you're well. Thanks for watching. Kevin Ledger said, great signings so far. Delighted to have Shinnie back. Hopefully Rama stays. Still need a few more to build squad for rotation. Ian Bruce has asked, could Anthony Stewart be shoehorned into a different position and given a chance? I think that is PGL Tuna. Good evening to you. Stand free, beggars. Stand free back, fella. Any sign of Levitt or Nigel Longwick from Plymouth? No sign whatsoever. Fraser Gunn has said, hoping for a big season ahead for Connor Barron. He definitely has talent and can only hope he shows what he's capable of, as he's demonstrated in the past. Barry will make him tick. Yeah, it is a big season. I completely agree. Talking about new shirts, Paul Donaldson has said, have you seen the new Celtic shirt for next season? Don't think they'll be having record sales for that one. I have to say, it's awful. It's hideous. Deary, deary me. Andrew has said, don't you think the selling point on the Northern Lights shirt was the chairman modelling it? That tweet was so funny. Oh, it did make me chuckle. Deary me. Kevin Sterling is here. Hi, Kevin. How you doing? Former club historian and a writer of many a fine Dons book. The way atop, as a 60-year-old plus Manny, a bit too trendy for me, but well done to the club. Yeah, I totally get that, mate. Erica Mitchell has come back and said, P.S. I'm also very excited for the new season already. Come on, you Reds. Fraser Gunn is asking me what my thoughts are on Alan Burrows. Well, so I championed Alan to come into the club a wee while ago, back in January, I think it was, when we were going through our awful patch. And look, I don't know Alan. I've never met him. I've only heard great things about him. He's very media savvy. He's very switched on to new media, which is where I think the club are particularly lacking at the moment. If I did have one criticism of the football club, I think it's their attitude towards new media, influencers, people like that, people like me. So I just think he's a fantastic acquisition to the football club, and I absolutely tip my hat to the chairman for making that one work and for having the foresight to see that he could make a huge difference to the football club. He's basically Dave Cormack's eyes within Pittodrie Stadium, and for that I think it was a brilliant masterstroke of a move to get him in. And again, just from talking to people that I know, he is held in the highest regard and is very much liked in the football club. And from what I can see from the outside looking in, I think he's doing nothing but an absolutely fantastic job, and I tip my hat to him. Doric Dave. Hi, Doric. How you doing, lad? Was great to see the team training in Portugal today. I've not been this excited for the new season in such a long time. Excuse me. Johnny Utah has asked, we will never win anything with Stewart and Scales if he comes back, contributing in defence. Recruitment needs to find another solution to bolster the back line. Scottish Susie said, so when does Clarkson and Williams get their Oscar nomination for that announcement video? Oh, dearie me. Hey, do you know, right, again, it's fantastic to see, and I love the fact that the football club are stepping out of the box and trying new things. Oh my God, that was so wooden. But it was good. Hey, listen, 10 out of 10 for effort. That's what I say. Oh, brilliant. Colin Stewart, I said, speaking about the club's media, what about the video, from the club with Leighton and Rhys when they met up was a bit cringe. A little, but I did like the idea, I got to be honest. Graham Clark has said, Rhys Williams, I think he will be solid at the back. Very impressed with that one. Defo put in a few headers in with corners from Leighton. Couldn't believe the size of him when I first saw the boy. He's huge. John McDonald has said, Vinny has great talent, but does tend to go walkabout during a game. I'm sure Barry will sort him out. John, that's really interesting because on the big Saturday football show on North Sound, when when we weren't playing so well when we came back from the World Cup, one of my biggest criticisms of Vinny was that I always felt he was in danger of going missing in games, and I didn't like that about it. It used to frustrate me about him. It's like, mate, when you need to step up to the plate, you're the type of player that we need to get on the ball because you're a creative player, and I just felt he used to go missing. But look, I'm looking forward to him coming back. Just before we move on to more of your thoughts, let's just get some of the headlines coming out of the football club recently. So the fixtures were obviously released. This picture comes courtesy of AFC Media. So in August, we're away to Livingston, home to the champions, away to St Mirren, then a fairly tricky September, home to Hibs, away at Hearts, home to Ross County, and then away at Mordor. And let's not forget Europe as well. And let's welcome 39-year-old former Kilmarnock and MK Dons midfielder Peter Levin, who will assume first-team coaching duties after the departure of Liam Fox. From what we can understand, he's got excellent connections in Europe, and Barry thinks very highly of him because I think I'm correct in saying that him and Barry did their coaching badges together. So a very warm welcome to Peter as well. Let's also not forget that, Nicky Devlin has joined the football club. Esther Salklar is here as well as Shinza, Leighton Clarkson and Rhys Williams. So let's not forget those guys. So just let me take a wee moment to remind you, if you haven't already subscribed to ABTV, I'd be absolutely delighted if you would please consider it. We're edging ever closer to 3,000 followers, which is absolutely phenomenal. And the aim is to try and get as many followers as we can. So we're going to be making a few changes for the new season. And that's where the membership scheme has come in. Very useful for me. I'd just like to shout out to Lorraine Baxter, who recently joined the membership scheme. If you're unaware of it, all it is an opportunity to help me build this channel. It's a very small fee. If you click the join button on your PC, there's a video of me explaining the benefits of you becoming a member of ABTV. And I've already started sort of reinvesting the money that you guys have very kindly donated to ABTV in new equipment, which you will see very, very soon. Now, on Saturday, I go to Sydney, Australia for a month. I'm going down to produce the Women's World Cup for Optus Sports, which means that potentially I could miss some games, particularly the first two games. But my aim is, because of the time difference and because of my working schedule, I still think I will be able to bring you shows. So my aim is to get down to Sydney, see how it goes, see what my schedule is like down there, because it's pretty mental. And I'm going to do my very best to bring you the preview shows into every game. Halftime if I can, but I still think I'll be with the big Saturday football show, and I'll definitely try and bring review shows. It just means I'm obviously not in the studio. You won't see the same backdrop and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to try and make it work because I don't want to let you down, and because so many of you have joined the membership scheme. I just feel it's only right that I do my very best for you, as I can see that you're doing your very best for me. So if you like today's show, give it a click. I'd be delighted if you wouldn't mind subscribing as well. Jump on board and come and see what we're going to be doing, because we do have big, big plans. Right, let's finish off tonight by coming back to some of your comments. So Museman121 has said, Shinnie will be on the players who will tend to go missing in games. Fully believe this team can push far in the cups and aim for top 3. Mark Mann, hi Mark, how you doing? It's great to catch you live again. Signings thus far seem very positive. I feel Aberdeen are a different animal now in terms of signings and PR. Hopefully we get a top HOR. Yeah, I agree, a head of recruitment. Neil McDonald has said, heading to the land of Vegemite sandwich and shrimps on the barbie. Safe travels. Thanks, Neil. Stuart Hepburn has said, can't wait for these European games. Roll on a wee John. Yeah. When's the draw again? It's the 7th, isn't it? Which I will try and do a show for the draw. It just depends what time in the morning, I guess it will be in Australia. But I will definitely try and do a show for the draw, 100%. Andy M is here saying, watching with interest whether we'll move to a back four with the likes of Rhys and Devlin joining. Yeah, it's an interesting thought, Andy. Pete Henges has come back and said, Vinny could be a godsend as some kind of cover when Duke goes to the African Nations Tournament. Great point. Graham Clark has said, potentially losing Duke January and February if he goes away with the African Cup of Nations. Hopefully it doesn't hamper us too much. Sugarland has said, nice wee mild season transmission. Point of order on second chances. Anthony Stewart is a million miles away from Vinny. Can't be bothered has said, only want Scales back if it's not a loan. Sick and tired of the defence being disrupted when we play Celtic. I couldn't agree more. I think it's, the loans of Scottish clubs, particularly Celtic, for me have to stop. Because obviously when we play them, we can't play whoever comes on loan from their parent club. That's got to stop. It puts us very much at a disadvantage. And I hope the club don't follow suit anymore. So if we're going to get Liam back, I hope it's very much on a permanent deal. Ian Bruce is asking, what's the news about Leeds looking to acquire young starlet Lewis Perry? Honestly, mate, I've got no idea. The latest I read is that the young lad has got his heart set on the move. That's all I've read. Crypto Kev has said, from what I understand, we don't have an option to buy Williams at the end of the loan. Al Mitchell is looking forward to seeing how he does. Right, guys. Neil McDonald said, why have the Dons been stitched up with away games after European matches? Oh, you're opening a can of worms there, fella. You are opening a can of worms. Alexander Wallace, Ali Beg down under. Now there's a sight for sore eyes. Gordon Keith Ritchie is wishing everybody a good evening. Sorry for joining late. Don't apologise, fella. Will be a good season. Come on, you Reds. I see. So Ian, you're also going to be in Australia. Do you know, maybe if we can. So I'm going to be based at Macquarie Park, I think it's called, the Holiday Inn Hotel at Macquarie Park. So I think Optus Sports Studios are just around the corner. From what I can see from my early schedule, I only have 2 days off in something like 32, which is totally fine. It's no problem. And I would love to see if we can get a group of Aberdeen fans together to maybe watch a game. So in the early games, Livingston and Celtic, which are both on a Saturday. So maybe we could make that work. But I think on the Celtic game, I actually think I'm travelling home the next day. So let's see. Right, guys, we are all done. How long have we done? Nearly 45 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. It's great to be back. I can't wait for the season to begin and to show you everything that we're doing new for the channel. And again, thank you for your continued support. Thank you for the views that have come in recently. The views have been fantastic. By the way, tomorrow I'm talking to Niall McGinn for a brand new Begs Banter. So the aim is still to keep content coming, even though I'm down in Australia, because as I said, I don't want to let you down. I want to keep the content coming. So yeah. So guys, listen, take very good care of yourselves. Enjoy the summer. If you're going on holiday soon, have a fantastic time. And I will see you very, very soon. Stand free. All the best. Bye for now.